Tonight on CBC Vancouver News. Breaking an NDA to go public with sexual assault allegations against the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra.
They silenced me, then they retaliated against me. Then when I spoke up, they threatened to sue me.
How her story is changing how the orchestra handles sexual misconduct cases. And
if we're going to do public investment into our resources here in Canada, I think it might be time to pivot that discussion to a refinery.
Officials in Canada are on high alert after the U.S. says it took control of Venezuelan oil. We'll bring you BC's take. Plus,
it's Sea Lions 1, Fisherman 0.
A fundraiser for kids with cancer gets derailed by some unexpected thieves.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Jessica Cheung. Thanks for joining us. The Vancouver Symphony Orchestra says it will end the use of non-disclosure agreements in cases involving sexual misconduct. Now, it follows backlash after a musician went public last month with sexual assault allegations and later received a cease and desist letter from the VSO. Janella Hamilton reports.
It silenced me. It hurt me.
Violinist Esther Huang says she's glad she spoke out despite signing a non-disclosure agreement in 2019 as part of a settlement that followed a third-party investigation into allegations of sexual assault by a senior member of the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra 2 years before. Huang went public with her story in a December Globe and Mail article, a move she hopes will create institutional change through legislation.
This is a big win for the NDA movement. Canada is behind on passing the NDA legislation.
In an open letter this week, the VSO says it will be ending the use of confidentiality agreements in cases of sexual misconduct, unless it's specifically requested by the complainant, and that it will be reaching out to experts and the broader community to improve transparency and accountability over time. That includes working with advocacy group Can't Buy My Silence. They have been pushing for NDAs to be banned in cases of harassment.
That is the message that I would like this to send to every other kind of organization and workplace in Canada. This is something that we now know is not a good idea. We need to stop doing it.
The Vancouver Musicians Association, which represents VSO musicians, told CBC News the open letter shows steps in the right direction, but Huang wants to see widespread changes.
It is because of the public that VSO has decided to not use NDAs to hide sexual misconduct. VSO really should extend that commitment to other forms of discrimination, but they haven't.
The VSO says the alleged perpetrator is no longer employed by the organization. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
Officials from BC and Washington State have formalized the British Columbia-Washington State Interparliamentary Group. Now, it'll streamline collaboration on projects that impact people on both sides of the border.
The parliamentary exchange is going to provide us with a perfect opportunity to continue that work, to nurture that relationship so that it can continue to be all that it can be.
Now, this comes exactly 1 month after the devastating floods that began in Washington State and spilled into BC. Now, the group will meet once a year to discuss cross-border constituency issues. And the U.S. takeover of Venezuela's oil industry has raised alarm bells for Alberta and has sparked renewed calls to expedite another oil pipeline to BC's north coast. And as Katie DeRosa reports, it's prompted BC's premier to float the idea of Canada building more of its own oil refineries.
The question of how to get Alberta's oil to both domestic and international markets has taken on new urgency following America's capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, and Donald Trump's desire to take control of that country's oil reserves.
If we're going to do public investment into our resources here in Canada, I think it might be time to pivot that discussion to a refinery.
The idea of building another oil refinery in Canada pitched by BC's premier instead of building another pipeline to BC's north coast, a proposal championed by Alberta Premier Danielle Smith.
To build a refinery is extremely expensive. We're talking tens of billions of dollars. It sounds good politically, but it's not an economically justifiable or feasible idea.
In 2017, media mogul David Black revived his idea of building a $13 billion refinery in Kitimat.
The best business project of the century.
Ultimately, that never materialized. BC's only major refinery, the Parkland facility in Burnaby, has capacity to refine about 55,000 barrels of crude per day, just a trickle of the 4 million barrels a day pumped out of the oil sands. Parkland is now owned by Texas-based energy giant Sunoco after a $9 billion deal closed last year. 95% of Canada's crude oil exports are sent to the U.S. Canada then buys back refined oil products like gasoline and diesel. BC's energy minister says neither he nor the premier intend to advance a refinery in this province.
Generally speaking, you would do such a project close to the reserve, so that would imply Alberta.
This former Alberta energy minister says EB is not totally off base.
I do agree with him that it should be an option that's discussed, but also pipelines.
All parties seem to agree that the goal is building up Canadian oil independence, but whether it's through pipelines or refineries is up for debate. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Victoria.
Pro-Khalistan group Six for Justice are rallying in Victoria in protest of the Premier's India trade mission trip.
We didn't get a justice yet. So how come you decide to travel to India to get further trade when the whole world is struggling?
Now, the group says they feel betrayed that EB is visiting the country as the allegations of Hardeep Singh Nijjar's murder against India and Modi's government remain unresolved. Now to the Fraser Valley, where police are investigating what's believed to be an extortion-related shooting this morning in a rural area of the township of Langley. And our Michelle Morton with the details now from the scene.
Police say nobody was injured after reports of shots fired near 68th Avenue and 232nd Street around 5:15.
They say they believe suspects arrived in a dark-colored sedan and then left the area immediately right after the incident.
Now, while it's early in the investigation, police say they believe this incident is extortion related and are working with partner agencies to determine if there are any links. While we've been here, I saw a flat deck tow truck come by and take a dark colored car away from the scene, but it was difficult to see if there was any damage to it. Now, this comes after a couple of shootings Wednesday in Metro Vancouver that police say they believe are also related to extortion. First in Surrey, police said they responded to a report of a shooting in the early morning hours at a house in the 12300 block of 77A Avenue. And later in the morning in Delta, police say they responded to a shooting near 84th Avenue and Brook Road. No injuries were reported in those incidents. Now, there has been a rise in extortion-related violence against Canada's South Asian community, involving dozens of shootings in BC, which saw the formation of a provincial task force last year. Langley RCMP are asking anyone with information to contact them. Michelle Morton, CBC News, Langley.
And former longtime CBC radio producer and host Hal Wake has died. Now, Wake hosted Vancouver's The Early Edition on CBC Radio and was a stalwart of Canadian literature. Following his time at the CBC, Wake took on the role of artistic director of the Vancouver Writers' Fest. Now, a statement from his family says Wake died yesterday. He was 73 years old. The fishermen in Richmond are preparing for an annual tradition to raise money for kids with cancer. Now, the much-anticipated herring sale is marking its 15th year anniversary this year, but our Pinky Wong spoke to a local fisherman and learned there isn't any catch yet. Take a look.
Phil, tell us what happened.
In very short terms, it's sea lions 1, fishermen 0. We had 2 seine boats out off Nanaimo last night. They started fishing about 7 o'clock in the morning and quit when it got light, but there were simply too many sea lions for them to catch fish. And we'll be back tonight.
And you mentioned earlier that you needed decoy boats. Can you tell me how does it work and why do we need that?
Oh, typically we fish with 3 boats. Last night we only had 2, but in 3 boats, when we leave the dock, the sea lions follow us. So we head out to the fishing grounds, and then 2 boats, the decoy boats, they turn their lights on, make lots of noise, bang on the rails with metal, and the real fishing boat turns its lights off, its engine off, and they just sit there quietly. The other 2 boats go a couple miles away, and then hopefully the sea lions follow them, and then the boat turns its lights on, its engine on, and gets a set quick before the sea lions come back.
I see, and that's like fascinating to know. But tell me, behind us, this is one of the machine that you use to process those fishes. How much fishes are supposed to go in here, and how does it work?
Hopefully tomorrow we'll have 60 to 80 tons, and we've put the first 2,000 tickets out for sale. We should have 4,000 tickets tomorrow. And the process is pretty easy. We have a big vacuum on the boat with a big hose, and we put it in the fish hold, and it sucks all the herring into this plant. And we take a tote, and we put it, we put it underneath this conveyor. It gets filled with herring, and then we ship some of the totes off to fish processors who help us bag, and it gets weighed there, and we are hopefully going to be in great shape on Saturday morning.
What happens if this tonight or tomorrow morning we're still not getting the fish yet? What's going to happen?
We'll get the fish next week. There'll be another boat fishing, and we'll have 3 boats, and we can do the decoy trick.
And Darius Madavi joins us now with the first look at weather. Okay, Darius, I saw some sun out there today.
I know, wasn't that a treat?
It was great.
The sun, fresh snow in the mountains. More of one of those things. We're going to see a lot more precipitation arriving, maybe a little break for some sunshine tomorrow afternoon in parts of the south coast. But this is a moderate atmospheric river event that's first hitting the north coast and then going to travel down. As a result, we have a number of weather warnings in place. Wind warning covering much of the north coast, those coastal sections down through the central coast and the North Island. Very high winds there. Rainfall warnings, winter storm warnings, and snowfall warnings all in place across parts of BC. And again, all because of this atmospheric river driving a lot of that moisture through, but luckily not resting in any one place for too long. More later in the show.
All right, thank you so much for that, Darius. We'll check back in with you a bit later.
Thank you.
Now, it's a sport loved by many, including folks with physical impairments. The BC Blind Curling Championship has kicked off in Campbell River. And as Marie Zeidler reports, players say the sport is as much about camaraderie as it is about the game.
Campbell River curler Arthur Monkman and his fellow team members are ready.
We've beaten these teams before, per se. So, yeah, I think we have a pretty good chance.
Thursday marks the beginning of the BC Blind Curling Championships here in Campbell River. During the 2-day event, Monkman and his teammates will be facing off against other blind curlers from Vancouver, Kelowna, and Prince George.
We get to see these teams once a year. You know, we don't have a division here we can play with all the time. We just curl with regular-sided teams, right?
Like many people who are legally blind, Monkman does have some vision. Blind curling is basically the same as regular curling, but low-vision athletes follow the light from their coach's broom as a guide when throwing the stones. Others follow the sound of a whistle, bell, or even a clicker. Bruce Laurie has been coaching the group for the past 4 years. He says the championship is a good opportunity to let blind people socialize. Laurie says many blind people never leave their homes.
That's a chance for people to understand that even if they don't have sight, you can still do things and get involved and get out there. And there are people that are willing to help and get you out and going.
Curling is one of many sports that's been adapted for people who are vision impaired.
So it isn't just the curling. There's other things, bowling and golf and dragon boating, and so there's other activities some of mine have been involved in.
Terry Pipke traveled from Prince George to take part in the Bonspiel.
It's lots of fun. The camaraderie that builds year after year, and coming to Campbell River for the very first time, it's something new and exciting.
Whether they're playing or just hanging out, one thing these players all know for certain is they'll be having fun. Win, lose, or draw. Marie Zeidler, CBC News, Campbell River.
There's international attention on Venezuelan oil, some of the hardest to extract in the world. Our Johanna Wagstaff explains why after the break. Venezuela sits on one of the largest oil deposits in the world, but not all oil is created equal. Millions of years of buried seabeds and oil-eating bacteria turn that reserve into some of the heaviest crude on the planet. And our Johanna Wagstaff explains why that makes it some of the hardest in the world to extract.
Venezuela and its oil are in the spotlight.
Venezuela is sitting on the world's largest estimated oil reserves.
President Trump is focused on Venezuela's oil.
Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves.
So what do we know about Venezuela oil? We know the volume of it under Venezuela rivals Canada's oil sands in scale, comparable to the world's remaining conventional oil combined. But when it comes to how much is recoverable, it's less about politics and more about geology and a little about bacteria. Most of the oil in question sits in the Orinoco Oil Belt, a massive geological formation running across eastern Venezuela. USGS scientists have long estimated there's roughly 900 to 1,400 billion barrels of oil available here. But only this much is estimated to be technically recoverable using existing technology. Why? Because not all oil behaves the same way. And to understand what makes Venezuela's oil unique, we need to understand that oil is made up of hydrocarbons, molecules that come in all sorts of sizes. Some are short, light chains that flow easily, like thin syrup or water. Others are long, heavy chains that barely move at all. Think peanut butter. Geologists measure this using something called API gravity. Light oils have high API gravity, heavy oils have low. Extra heavy oil sits at the extreme end of that scale, and Venezuela's oil is about as extreme as it gets. So why is Venezuela's oil so heavy? In order for oil to form, you need organic-rich seabeds that are then buried, heated, and trapped. Sometimes this happens near mountains. Venezuela followed that script. During the Cretaceous, its basins filled with marine life, later cooked into oil as nearby mountains folded. What happened next is what makes Venezuela different. Over millions of years, the oil migrated upward into cooler rock. There, microbes moved in, feeding first on the lightest hydrocarbons. What remained were those long, complex molecules, the thicker, denser, stickier stuff. This process, known as biodegradation, transformed much of Venezuela's oil long before humans arrived. The result is this extra heavy crude with extremely high viscosity. In some cases, it barely behaves like a liquid at all. Compare that to other major regions. Saudi light crude often stayed deeper and hotter, protecting it from microbes. US shale oil is locked in tight rock, making it hard for microbes to get in the first place. But Venezuela's oil lingered where microbes could survive. And Canada's oil sands, they are heavy too, forming under not exact but very similar pressures to Venezuela.
Microorganisms, most of them, they can't live in high temperature, especially here in the oil sands and Athabasca oil sands. We are very shallow, the reservoirs, so it's the perfect temperature for the microorganisms to degrade the oil.
Heavy oil leads to two big problems. First, it doesn't flow easily. Light oil can rise naturally to the surface, but extra heavy oil has to be coaxed with heat, solvents, or by mixing it with lighter hydrocarbons to make it pumpable. Every one of those steps costs energy. Second, heavy oil is also just harder to refine. It contains more sulfur, more complex molecules. You need specialized refineries to break it down, and only a fraction of the world's refineries are designed for that job.
You can refine it, but it becomes more expensive. So the discount of the oil at the end it's higher. The production costs to make the break even will be higher and likely will be higher than the oil sands.
From a climate perspective, oils like Venezuela's are among the most energy intensive to get from the ground to the gas tank. Despite the turbulence surrounding Venezuela's oil sector, one thing is clear. Global dependence on oil and the consequences tied to it are still shaping decisions in real time.
A crisp, sunny day in Cranbrook. Look how beautiful that is. It's a welcome reprieve for some at this time of year. But elsewhere in the province, more rain and snow to come. Darius has your full provincial forecast coming up. Welcome back. We are following developing news out of Portland, where police say 2 people were shot this afternoon by federal immigration officers. Now, the Portland Police Bureau says its officers responded to reports of a shooting shortly after 2 p.m. They found a man and a woman with apparent gunshot wounds, and they were transported to a hospital, and their conditions are unknown. The Portland FBI say the incident did involve Customs and Border Patrol agents. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said Border Patrol agents were conducting a vehicle stop when the driver, quote, weaponized his vehicle before an agent fired their gun. Now, the DHS says the passenger of the vehicle was the target of the stop. Meanwhile, officials in Minnesota say they've been blocked from taking part in the federal investigation into the fatal shooting of a woman in Minneapolis. 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed by ICE agents Wednesday. Now, police are also coming together to remember her, a mother of 3, who lived near the site of the shooting. Katie Nicholson has spent the day talking to people there.
So this is East 34th in Portland. This is this stretch of street where yesterday Renee Nicole Good was shot by an ICE agent, and it's really something of a sort of a makeshift and growing memorial. Hundreds of people have come here over the last 24 hours to pay respects. All day I've seen people come here and pray, hold one another, cry, and there are also people holding signs. A number of people here really holding on to sort of protest signs, and others. I want to introduce you actually to Mark McKeevy here, who's holding a sign that says simply, "She was good." Mark, tell me about why it is you wanted this sign.
Well, I'll first start that this was not my idea. I saw this in a photo from, I believe, Minnesota Public Radio. But when I saw it, I felt it was what exactly needed to be said after our president and his Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, characterized this woman falsely as a domestic terrorist.
We've heard Governor Walz again and again sort of urge calm here in the streets. This is an area that is just blocks away from where George Floyd was murdered back in 2020. Those memories very fresh here. I talked to a number of people here in the neighborhood who still remember those days, the tensions, and a lot of healing has had to happen since then. Interesting thing about this neighborhood is very interesting texture. Lots of artists, lots of immigrants. You'll see if we just turn around here. There's a bunch of people with fires going. There's been food coming in. Somali tea has just been brought in. You're seeing people from sort of all different aspects of the city coming together here. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Minneapolis.
A new report by Human Rights Watch says recent changes to UK legislation may have a chilling effect on the right to freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. Now, Crystal Gamansing reports from London.
Human Rights Watch says here in the UK, the fabric of democracy is fraying, that laws currently on the books are resulting in dissenting voices being significantly constrained when it comes to their rights to take to the streets and peacefully protest. The director for Human Rights Watch said that peaceful protesters are given conflicting information, often by police, that people can be searched and detained arbitrarily, even arrested for things such as having tape, placards, as well as covering their faces. The report released today, called Silencing the Streets, cites several demonstrations in England that were viewed as problematic. Not My King demonstration at the coronation of King Charles was just one of those where anti-monarchy demonstrators were taken into custody while unloading signs even before the demonstration took place. And more recently, the detention of demonstrators sitting holding signs saying Palestinian action. That group has been prescribed as a terrorist organization here, so even holding a sign could be seen as support, resulting in possible charges under counterterrorism laws. Yasmin Ahmed says there are many different examples, all leading to a chilling effect, ones that even have her concerned about attending protests alone or with her daughter.
My daughter, who's 11, who is very much concerned about the climate crisis, I will think twice now about taking her to a protest because of the fact now that we have no legal certainty about what we can and can't do in that protest. We have no legal certainty, and certainly I would be worried about the extent to which any activities that we were doing within the context of that peaceful process may be deemed as violating the criminal law.
Human Rights Watch is calling for a number of changes to be made. They have a list of recommendations, including changes to current legislation, saying amendments are needed to ensure that rights are protected and that there isn't a further slide and chilling effect of peaceful demonstrations. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has in the past said that he supports individuals' rights to peacefully demonstrate. However, there has been no official comment to today's Human Rights Watch report. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, London.
Protests in Iran have spread nationwide, with demonstrators frustrated over the skyrocketing cost of living there. Pressure on the regime is mounting, and as Margaret Evans explains, leaders are casting a wary eye at recent comments from the United States.
Pain and frustration over Iran's failing economy, spilling out onto city streets for nearly 2 weeks now and spreading. They began in Tehran's Grand Bazaar, shop owners crippled by a devalued currency. Security forces inevitably trying to shut protests down. Dozens have been killed so far. They're nowhere near the scale of the protests back in 2022, but potentially pose an even greater risk to Iran's ruling clerics, say analysts, as Washington's grip on Venezuela tightens.
The big lesson out of the fall of the Venezuelan regime is not Colombia, is not Greenland, is Iran. And the Iranians know that Iran is the next target.
U.S. President Donald Trump has delivered warnings to Tehran about the protests.
If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard.
That could embolden protesters, even if many don't believe Trump has their best interests at heart. Iran has endured decades of U.S.-led sanctions aimed at curbing its nuclear program. And more saber-rattling from Israel, which launched 12 days of what it called preemptive strikes against Iran with U.S. help last year, has piled more pressure on the regime.
They're under distinct political pressure from within. The economic policy changes that they need to make are not really possible without coming to an accommodation with the U.S. administration.
Iranian officials, including the foreign minister, are stepping very carefully. We do not seek war, he's saying, but we're prepared for it. We're also prepared for negotiations. Iran's negotiating position is clearly even weaker than it was a year ago. Less clear how that will impact an increasingly cornered regime, one that has resisted calls for its demise in the past through brutal repression. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
The Alberta government is rejecting an urgent call by some doctors to declare a state of emergency in Alberta's hospitals. Julia Wong shows us why those doctors say they're facing a crisis of care.
In Alberta hospitals, some physicians say the situation is so dire, the province needs to declare a state of emergency.
It's gotten to a crisis state where patients are dying in our waiting rooms and patients are having very bad outcomes because of how unsafe it is.
It's exactly what you would see from a war zone hospital.
It's a situation Dr. Warren Thirsk knows all too well.
It's carnage. It's daily carnage. The overload of human misery is tough to witness.
The emergency physician says what he sees now is the worst in his 25-year career. He blames a growing and aging population and not enough room in hospitals, and says patients are the ones who suffer.
When there's no health care available for you because the beds are full, because the operating rooms are full, because there's no nurses, because there's no doctors, because there's no budget, then you're waiting.
The call comes mere weeks after a 44-year-old man died in an Edmonton emergency department after allegedly waiting 8 hours to see a doctor. The Alberta government has invoked a state of emergency before, during the COVID pandemic.
It can enable expedited funding, emergency staffing measures, rapid redeployment of beds and equipment across hospitals.
But it does not create hospital beds or more staffing, this expert says.
But it's not going to address those long-term, deeply rooted structural problems that we're seeing in the healthcare system.
Alberta's Ministry of Primary and Preventative Health Services tells CBC News the system is using all available resources. Calls for a public health state of emergency are misguided and would add nothing to what is already being done. The province's hospital ministry also points to plans for 1,000 new hospital beds and says it's also coordinating resources on the local, regional, and provincial level to make sure they go where needed. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
Hundreds of homes are deemed unlivable in Manitoba's Pimicikamak Cree Nation after a days-long power outage last month. As Ian Fraze reports, thousands of people remain displaced from their community while the First Nation tries to rebuild.
This plumber is getting underneath the problem after a 4-day power outage caused pipes in Pimicikamak Cree Nation to burst.
Mold will get starting to smell.
An estimated 500 of 1,000 homes are damaged. Morris McKay's isn't one of them, so he's able to stay in the community and help. His nephews are stuck using bottled water for cooking and drinking.
Shower, we can't shower or anything.
Cleaning dishes.
Dishes, as you can see, it's very hard to do that.
In late December, the Northern Manitoba First Nation of 7,000 people endured a lengthy power outage. Many were evacuated, but a few thousand people stayed to watch the power get restored and then the pipes to break. Water filled crawl spaces, even front yards. One water treatment plant isn't immune.
Like, good thing we had spare parts and we had to fix them.
At least 200 homes are unlivable.
Once we actually get it fixed, behind walls there's going to be leaks. You're right, black mold. You can't live in black mold. Rapidly grows.
On Wednesday, politicians toured damage estimated to take weeks, maybe months to fix. But the feds wouldn't promise the military, and Chief David Monia says there aren't enough plumbers or technicians.
And everybody's saying, well, let's use local resources. Well, people haven't slept maybe with 2 hours sleep and then trying to work again. One of the reasons why I didn't want to leave.
McKay is grateful to offer a safe place for his family to stay, but admits it's difficult not knowing when things will be fixed.
Sometimes I break down in private to myself. I give it to myself. I don't show it to my family.
While about 4,000 people are still out of the community, Monias is asking his people for patience because they can only return once their house is fixed. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Pimicikamak Cree Nation.
The United States will no longer participate in 66 international organizations, most of them affiliated with the UN. What that means for the rest of the world after the break.
So I know when I really like a song, if within the first 3 seconds, I'm already vibing to it.
Hey, I'm Rohith Joseph. Vibin' is the new show all about discovering great new songs and fresh artists from across BC and beyond.
It's not one person dictating what good music is, it's the community sharing what good music is.
Stream Vibin' on CBC Listen.
Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump has withdrawn his country from dozens of international organizations and agreements, including a treaty that underpins international efforts to combat global warming. John Northcott has more on that development.
The reaction to the latest Trump administration moves has already been swift. The Union of Concerned Scientists calling it a new low. The head of the UN Climate Initiative saying that it is effectively an own goal that will have a challenging effect on the U.S. economy and its people. 66 organizations, treaties, alliances around the world that the U.S. is pulling out of. And the reason we mention climate change is because one of the most significant that he is pulling out of is an agreement reached in 1992, 198 countries, that eventually led to the establishment of the Paris Accords. Now, Trump has already pulled out of those accords, but still, that means going forward that other countries could use this as an excuse to pull out and to not do their bit to combat climate change around the world. From the administration's point of view, quoting from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, he saying this in reaction to what they have done. The Trump administration has found these institutions to be redundant in their scope, mismanaged, unnecessary, wasteful, poorly run, a threat to our nation's sovereignty, freedoms, and general prosperity. Still, when you take that and add in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, the seizure of oil tankers around the world, and the threats made to Greenland's sovereignty, it becomes clear that the Trump administration, when it comes to international affairs, is going to go their own way. John Northcott, CBC News, Toronto.
The weather update is brought to you by the BC Cancer Foundation. The future of cancer care can be your legacy. Fuel innovation and life-saving treatments by leaving a gift in your will today.
Darius Madavi joins us now with your full BC weather forecast. Okay, Darius, I feel like I've been going through some weather whiplash. Like I've seen snow and then sun and then rain. Is any of this going to stabilize anytime soon?
No. More fluctuations, more change is on the way. I do like that term though. Yeah. It's pretty good. You should copyright that. Now we have another atmospheric river event that's going to be hitting BC, this time starting focused on the north coast and then continuing to head down south over the next several days. So that has or is arriving on the north coast right about now, tonight, and we're going to continue to see that move down the coast towards Metro Vancouver and the South Island as we head into the end of the weekend. So probably Saturday afternoon, we're going to see that arrival. What that looks like in terms of precipitation is about 50 to 100 millimeters, as we talked about, for the north coast over the next 24 hours or so, and then it's going to continue to head south. So here's that first really big blast of heavy precipitation. You'll notice, again, a while of sustained rain, as is normal for an atmospheric river event, and then it continues to shift south, reaching us pretty much by late Saturday into early Sunday. This model is definitely a little bit earlier than most of the others, so it could really arrive late morning on Saturday, but it seems more likely that it'll be later in the day at this point. But again, a little bit of uncertainty there, so don't plan for Saturday morning to be dry, I would say, but if it is, it'll be a nice little perk for all of us. Now, with that being said, as usual, as I always say, atmospheric river events are normal for the West Coast. A third to half of our rain every year comes from these events, but it just matters the intensity of it. So this is going to be a moderate one, so it seems. That means more snow on the way, but also a lot of warm air being ushered in from the tropics, which means temperatures are going to be rising over the next several days. That means less snow in some of those lower elevations, but plenty still coming for the peaks. Not going to see temperatures rise to the point where we're not going to get snow in the local mountains or anything like that. Freezing levels remaining low enough that that'll continue, but temperatures really starting to to spike in places like the Peace region, where temperatures are climbing as much as 25, 26 degrees over the next several days. Avalanche danger remains elevated, but improving in the southern parts of the province. With that being said, we may see that danger spike again as we see more snow being dumped and those temperatures rising. Could lead to some more instability in the snowpack there. We continue to see a little bit of sun possible tomorrow in parts of the interior, but some early morning flurries are still likely in some of those areas. And here's our 5-day forecast with a mainly cloudy afternoon tomorrow. I'm hopeful there'll be a bit of sunshine peeking through before that rain really starts to arrive on Saturday and continues into early next week.
All right, I like that sun, but I'm going to keep my umbrella.
Good
That's
idea.
the message.
Keep it close.
All right, thanks so much, Darius.
Thank you.
Our next story is something we don't want to sit on for too long, so let's get right to the bottom of things. We talk with a longtime plumber about the history of toilets in Vancouver next.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox. CBC is a proud partner of the UBC Lunar New Year celebration on February 12th. It's a special evening with CBC's Leanne Young celebrating the Year of the Horse. For more information, visit alumni.ubc.ca. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC's e-newsletter and keep connected with us.
Now, in the 1990s, water efficiency and ways to lower household water usage were top of mind. Now, that's when the city of Vancouver began to consider changes to its plumbing codes. By '94, the city had implemented those changes in toilets. And let's take a look back now at the reaction to the ultra-low flush.
Toilets flush in Vancouver millions of times every day, and people take tens of thousands of showers, too, using millions of liters of precious water. Old-style beauties like these use 20 liters per flush. Why? To soothe people.
Well, a lot of people think that it's not going to get rid of the waste.
Plumbing is Randy Stadnick's life, and increasingly he's selling a new type of toilet, the 6-liter ULF, the ultra-low flush.
Doesn't that affect performance? Well, I guess to a certain extent it would. But supposedly give it a year, maybe 2 years, it'll be perfected so they flush completely without any problems whatsoever.
City Hall is convinced it can be. They remember the water shortage back in '92 and don't want a repeat. So they decided that to save water, come this July, new toilets, showers and taps have to use less water. Vancouver builders don't like it.
It takes a lot of volume to evacuate the waste, and even with 20-liter toilets, some people are having to flush twice.
But this toilet maker poo-poos that idea.
Ultra-low flush toilets have focused the engineering talents of the plumbing industry on trying to solve a problem, and they've solved it.
Like most plumbing retailers, Stadnick does not have a lot of ULF toilets in stock, but water-conserving plumbing fixtures are already the law in the United States, so supply should not be a problem. As for public acceptance,
most people are environmentally safe now, and carburetors, I know we don't sell that many of them anymore. People are composting, stuff like that. So the water thing, it's not that big of a deal. People don't mind. People figure they'll live with it.
City Hall is not going to send the toilet police after you if you do not switch to the ultra-low flush toilets. But by the same token, if you do switch, they're not going to give you a break on your water bill. Bob Nixon, CBC News, Vancouver.
And our guest today knows so much more about toilets than I do. Doug Juniper is a senior plumber at Hillcrest Plumbing. He's been working his trade since 1991. All right, thank you so much for joining us, Doug.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Jessica, for having me.
All right, so let's get to the bottom of things. You must remember some of the reaction as people realized that they were only playing with 6 liters to flush instead of 20. Tell us what that was like and if there was any pushback on that change.
Oh, there was a lot of unhappy customers, man. There was lots of callbacks. We had to do lots of so-called plug toilets. People were not happy. They were not happy at all.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what it was like then when that change got put in place?
It was quite a large change because we had to inform the customers and correct them that they didn't have to use a double flush. Everybody was double flushing compared to the regular one flush with the 20-liter tank. This new adaptation really confused a lot of people, and yeah, we had a lot of plug toilets back then because people were just using the same amount of toilet paper as they always were, but it just wasn't going down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, imagine that people were water conscious before the 90s when this was implemented. So what were you seeing from people? What were they doing to their tanks to cut back on usage themselves?
Absolutely. They're all trying to help out in their own little ways. What I found that people were using were bricks, regular red stone bricks or gray stone bricks. They'd put them in their 20-liter tank, and that would actually use less water. The toilets were still flushing fine. We didn't have any problems with that.
Yeah, and so we're talking about, water levels here, but what other changes flowed from the 1994 plumbing code?
Well, we had to go with a 6-liter flush, and with the new housing being built and whatnot, they did use a lot of those toilets. Yeah, it was quite tight. A lot of people were not happy.
Yeah, and during COVID, we saw a lot of people who were hoarding toilet paper, and that kind of developed this trend to use bidets. Are we still seeing this use being a big thing now?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are bidets that cost around $60 all the way up to $1,500. You can get bidets with mufflers, heated seats, you name it, warm water, the works. And we still see them today.
Wow, and what, in your mind, do you see as the future of toilets going forward?
Touchless, and there's a lot of toilets out there that you can walk by. They have infrared sensors, automatic opening toilet seats. Basically, it's a computer on a toilet.
Wow, okay, that is the future of toilets, it sounds like. Yeah, very technological. But thank you so much, Doug, for that conversation. Very much enjoyed it. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Doug Juniper, who is a senior plumber working in his trade for more than 3 decades now. And that's our show. Thanks for being with us tonight. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, on YouTube, and on our website at cbc.ca/BC. I will have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. I'm Jessica Cheung. Have a great night.